It's me again, your instructor in your let review. And this time, we will be discussing about, or I will be discussing about principles of teaching. So in here, you will meet questions that belong to principles of teaching. When we speak of principles of teaching, this entails the teaching strategies, methods, and techniques to be used by the teacher in delivering a particular lesson or generally to implement the curriculum. So I hope that you are ready, and I hope that you will you will listen attentively and also watch the video. Okay. Question number one. To nurture students' creativity, which activity should teacher Eman avoid? A. Ask open-ended question. B. Ask divergent question. C. Ask closed-ended question. Or letter D. Be open to out-of-the-box idea. Okay, so the key word here is creativity. So creativity, the teacher here wanted to develop the creativity of the student. So as we all know, creativity or creating belongs to or is the highest level in the Bloom's taxonomy. So medyo lisod-lisod din siya i-achieve. So if teacher Eman wants to nurture his students' creativity, which among these options should be avoided? So take note, avoided. So letter A, open-ended question. When you speak of open-ended question, this refers to question that requires students to think, requires students to expound or to explain. So this does not call only one specific answer. Example, aning open-ended question is kanang questions to start with why or how. Letter B is ask divergent question. Divergent question is synonymous to open-ended question. So, since A and B are synonymous, hindi siya mo ang correct answer. Nga naman ang pag-eliminate sa or sa mga wrong. Letter C, closed-ended question refers to a question that seeks only one specific answer, or this is objective type of question. So it only requires one correct answer. Say for example, the question that is what, or that starts with what, then when, where. So these are closed-ended questions. Letter D, be open to out-of-the-box idea. When we say out, this is somehow divergent and open-ended. So A, B, and C are synonymous. Take note, when you ask open questions, these questions will provoke our learners to think, to think creatively and critically. So therefore, kining A, B, ug C, this would nurture their creativity. And since the question is asking for what is to be avoided, so therefore the correct answer is letter C. Ask closed-ended question. Because closed-ended questions for students create. Number two, to teach the importance of sustainable development, the teacher divides the class into 6 groups and asks them to discuss the topic within 6 minutes. What technique did the teacher employ? This is very, very easy. Na may mga clue diha na 6 groups, 6 minutes. The correct answer is letter D, Phillips 66. Symposium is, I know you are familiar with symposium. Example ka na mga drug symposium, wala siyang seminar. Simulation, uh, ang usa ka process, sundugon, before i-conduct, example, kintahay, anang pag-conduct. So, para masabtan sa mga parents, masabtan sa mga bata, mag-conduct sa og simulation. Wala siya drill, or practice. Letter C, role playing, very familiar also, very common. Role playing simply refers to dramatization. So letter D is the correct answer, Phillips 66. Number 3, Howard Gardner's MI theory or the multiple intelligences theory encourages the teachers to A, think in a multidisciplinary way, B, focus on the IQ of students. Consider various intelligences when creating lesson. D. Present the lesson methodically. So remember ha, Howard Gardner's MI. MI stands for multiple intelligences. So in this theory, Howard Gardner emphasizes that our students vary in terms of their intelligences. There are those learners who excel in linguistics or language, while others excel in sports, others excel in music, others excel in math, while others excel in like arts. So, manay kanang content sa theory ni Howard Gardner. And then Howard Gardner in this theory really encourages the teachers to consider various intelligences when creating lesson letter C. So or during the lesson planning, you must have to consider the various intelligences of your students in the classroom. So if ever na kay mga bata nga hilig sila og music, so make use of their inclination towards music in achieving the lesson objectives of the day. So kung nay mga bata pod nga hilig og sayaw, so let them dance. Of course, mga hatag ang mga activities nga valid para makater ang individual differences, ang various intelligences sa mga bata. So, ari mo come in ang differentiated instruction. Okay, number 4. If teacher would like to focus on attitudinal change, the teacher's best option is A. Field trip, B. Exhibit, C. Role play, or D. Simulation. So, the correct answer here is role play. Why? Because in the role play, na may mga characters, di ba? So, the students will be assigned to different characters. So, once they are given this particular character, they will portray the character. So, somehow, they can experience the attitude of the character. And somehow, this would help them um, uh, improve, or should I say, experience the different types of attitudes of people in a particular drama or in a particular scenario. So somehow this would help them also become a better person, a better character, or a person with a better character. So makaibaw sila kisay bida, kisay kontrabida. So makaibaw sila sa feelings na how it feels like to be the main actor, the protagonist, and how it feels like to be antagonist. And then they will have to weigh between these characters kung asay mas pabor sa ila or mas i-look forward nila. Field trip, okay, very familiar. Exhibit also, familiar. And 3D simulation. So among these options, it's letter C, role play, which would help um, students to focus on their attitudinal change. Number 5. Among the criterion, which should be the priority when choosing device? Device here refers to your teaching materials, your instructional materials. So in choosing the right instructional materials, kung mo visual aid, the most important criterion to be considered is the appropriateness, letter D. So what is appropriateness? So in choosing teaching device, you must also have to consider if this device is appropriate to your lesson, or appropriate to the students, or appropriate to the classroom setup. So this is the very important criterion that must be considered in choosing a teaching device. Okay? So dapat appropriate man siya sa age sa mga bata. For example, your lesson is on counting numbers. So unsa may mga appropriate na mga materials imong gamiton? Pwede mga popsicle sticks. Why? Appropriate din siya sa age sa bata tungod kay these popsicle sticks could really attract attention to the attention of your students. Nya kuan pud siya kanang murag child friendly pod ang popsicle sticks because di siya imong nga bugat, di pod siya imong makadaot sa mga bata or magkahilo sa mga bata. Kasi novelty meaning how newness, murag uniqueness sa usa ka teaching device. Although i-consider gud gihapon ni siya as well as the cost, ang iyang kamahalan or kabaratuhon, apil gihapon ni siya. Thirsty for attractiveness. Pero among all these criteria, ang appropriateness should be highly prioritized by the teacher in choosing teaching device. Number 6, Teacher Noy uses low-profile classroom control technique. What does this imply? Take note, low-profile classroom control technique. Meaning, pinalow-key lang siya. So therefore, this particular control technique really helps Teacher Noy to manage misbehavior without disruption of classes. Letter D, namadlong siya pero low-key ra siya. Low profile na siya kay namadlong siya pero wala na-disrupt ang iyang klase. So go on nagyapon ang lessons. That is meant by low profile classroom control technique. Number 7, routine activities should be established by a teacher. When? A, as soon as the students are inside the classroom. B, on the first day of school. C, every day before the start of the lesson. D, every homeroom day. So, routine activities, kina yung mga inadlaw-adlaw nga mga bulahaton sa classroom. So, dapat, this should be established by the teacher on the first day of school. So, sa first day of school pa lang, dapat ang teacher mag-conduct ng orientation, mag-conduct na o murag somehow orientation sa mga bata para ang mga bata will be guided regarding the routinary activities to be done daily in the classroom. So, first day, gid siya dapat i-hatag. Number 8, to maintain orderly transition between activities, teacher should. So, ang pasabot ani, para daw there is orderly transition between activity 1 to activity 2. The teacher should make the materials readily available. Dapat available ang mga materials para smooth ang imuhang pag-move from one activity to another. Okay? So, lesson here is that as a teacher, we must always have to make sure that our materials, our teaching materials are readily available in front of us or asa nimo ibutang nga human nimo sa activity dire-diretso na siya, di siya mo-consume of daghang time. Number 9, to show referent power of the teacher, teacher angel blank. Okay, I'd like to share this to you. There are 2 powers that a teacher should possess. What are those? First is the referent power. Referent power, this particular power is the power of teacher to build trust and acceptance and confidence with the students. Another power is the expert power. The expert power refers to the teacher's mastery of the lesson. Meaning, a teacher who has the expert power can really deliver the lessons very well. So he masters the lesson and he has the ability to make difficult lessons easier for the students to digest or easier for the students to understand. So asa ni nga mga options? Referent power. So teacher angel, letter B, gives her students a feeling of trust and acceptance. Kining letter C, that is expert power. Number 10, when Jacob Conin said the teacher should have wittedness, he meant that the teacher should. Actually, wittedness refers to, or this means having an eye at the back of the head. Nga even if the teacher is not facing the students kay nag-swatch sa blackboard, dapat kahibaw siya what happens behind him or behind her. Dapat kahibaw siya nga unsay natabo, kinsay nag-misbehave ba sila, nagkiyat ba sila. That is called wittedness. So asa man diha? Letter B. Be aware of what is happening in the classroom. So not all teachers have this ability, pero I think that this can be learned through times or through the years of teaching. Number 11. Based on Edgar Dale's cone of experience, which among the following is nearest from the real thing? So asa ko no aning upat ang duol sa tinuod ba nga murag naka-experience ka. Letter A, watching a demo. Muta na kag demo, makakita ka giunsa. B, attending exhibit, tanaw na ka. Ipang display na diha. That's attending exhibit. Hearing and listening, naminaw ra ka. D, viewing images, tanaw ra kag picture. So asaan na ang mas makakaton ka? Which among the four experiences na nearest from the real thing? Of course, it's letter A, watching demo. Kita man ka. Example, the lesson is about cooking. Kung letter D, viewing images ra, tanaw ra kas mga picture, yung sa pagluto, less ang experience, di ba? Letter C, hearing and listening, naminaw ra ka sa, let's say, gistorya ra, wa ka kita mismo with your own eyes, dudong gani mo, audio ra imik minaw, di ra po din nga ka engaging, kay wa makakita. Letter B, attending exhibit, parihara ni siya sa viewing images halos na naman naray mga photos diha na gibutang and then igo ra ka mo view. Unlike watching demo, that you are really watching somebody cooking the particular menu, cooking a particular let's say viand or dessert sa kaniyang giluto diha or baking bread, baking cake. So watching demo is nearest to the real thing. Letter A is the correct answer. Number 12, ripple effect can also be seen in misdemeanor. The teacher should therefore, yung si ripple effect, meaning, kana kayo mutakod-takod siya, nagkiat mo sa kabata, kumanin, kiat, nanundog ang ikaduhan, nung ikatuhan ng bata nasa classrooms, nagkiat. So, how should the teacher address this? So, the teacher should, letter B, immediately respond to misbehavior. Dapat, kita ka nga bata nag-misbehave, you respond to misbehavior. Imo na yung badlongon. Nga naman, udako man to siya, manundog man tong iyang ubang mga classmates. So, that is meant by immediate response to misbehavior. Number 13. Teacher Jenny would like to ask more higher order questions. She must ask more blank questions. Remember, higher order questions. Meaning these questions are really difficult to answer. The students need to think beyond the box. The students need to analyze a particular question. Many higher order questions. So, asa man nito eh? Of course, it is letter D, divergent questions. Diba? Ato na gibalik na siya sa previous na question na divergent questions would nurture the students' creativity because divergent questions are higher order questions. Okay. Number 14. Teacher Ruel would like to discuss about the earth and therefore brought with him a globe when he started his lesson. How would you classify Teacher Ruel's device? Okay, so globe. Iyang discussion is about earth good. Imposible man kayo ng earth imong dalon sa classroom. So therefore, Teacher Ruel opted to use globe as his teaching device. So globe can be considered as letter C, model. So model siya, model is simply a representation of a particular real object or real object. So imposible man kayo nga earth mismo imong dalahon kay dako man kayo or napunta sa earth din mismo. So instead of earth ang dalahon sa classroom, teacher will opted to have globe. Globe is a model. Chart, that's very understandable. Replica is same size na siya sa original nga object. Example, na kay diamond ring. Unya, imong pag-aman og replica. So same size siya. Okay? Realia, letter D, realia refers to real objects. Example, imong lesson kay about parts of a flower. Magdala ang mga bata gomamela flower. That is realia, real thing, real object. I hope nasabtan. 15. Teacher should use realia when? Kanus aman? When can a teacher use realia? Of course, when it is feasible, kung pwede. Okay, example. Example, kung ang lesson is about snakes, mga reptiles, di man ka pwede magdag snake sa classroom, di ba? Therefore, realia can only be used when it is feasible. Okay? Bisan pag available siya, letter A available, namin ha sa inyong balay, di man gyapon siya pwedeng dalahon sa eskwelahan. Okay? Affordable, bisan pag barato lang ng palit mo ng hasa, di gyapon nimo pwede siya dalahon sa classroom. Okay? Number 16. Teacher Joy would like to show how volcanoes erupt. Which of the following materials available is most fit? The correct answer is B, mock-up. Okay. Sir, nga di man pwedeng model. Okay, model na kay volcano po nga gamay imong gidala. Pero remember that the lesson of Teacher Joy would show how volcanoes erupt. Meaning, sige siya erupt, sige erupt. So, mock-up ang atong gamiton. Mock-up is actually a model. Pero nakalahi sa mock-up is moving siya. So, if you use mock-up, ang volcano is ga-erupt good siya. Did you see the difference sa model o sa mock-up? Ang model, ang globe. Okay, globe. Nya ang if you wanted to show something which is moving or something a process imong ihatag nga ga-conduct siya or ga-execute, mock-up imong gamiton. Okay? Replica and realia ako na lang i-explain din na. 17. The environment is greatly abused, which is why schools are teaching sustainable development. Which is the best practice among the following? Of course, letter B. Integrate sustainable development on the curriculum. Kung sa maning sustainable development, actually this is about saving our natural resources. So, ang imong buhaton ana sa estudyante o sa teacher, imo siyang i-integrate sa imong lesson. Example, kung mag-story, mag-classical EST, pwede nimo nga pakapinan nga imong integrate, imong isagol ang importance on the conservation of the natural resources. Number 18. Among the following, which best describe the implication of EFA for schools? EFA meaning education for all. Asa ko na nila ang nag-imply or nag-support sa EFA for schools, education for all. When you say education for all, this particular, say, policy refers to making the schools accessible and open to all, regardless of gender, regardless of culture, regardless of age, ethnicity, and other factors. Meaning the schools should be open to everyone. Okay? So, asa diha, the correct answer is, pagmintag, letter A, making educational reform in exclusive schools. When we say exclusive schools, naaray exclusive na estudyante nga dawaton. Example, kini nga eskwelahan intended for mga bright na mga bata. Okay, that is exclusive school. Letter B, offering informal education. Informal ra gi-offer, wala ang formal. So therefore, wa siya ning agree sa EFA or wa siya ning imply og policy on EFA. Letter C, practice of inclusive education. When you say inclusive education, from the word include, meaning regardless of whatever factors, students are included, students are welcome to enroll in schools. Correct answer is letter C. Kining letter D, emphasizing formal education system, opposite na sa letter B. So, wrong, gihapon is lang doha. Number 19. DepEd suggested that to effectively manage the school, standalone schools in some remote areas should be placed under one lead school. The strongest factor in consideration regarding this proposal is, very easy. Nadiha ang Q ana, remote areas na dapat iipon daw under one lead school. Of course, ang i-consider aning factor is the geographical factor, the distance of the location between schools, between and among schools. Number 20. Teacher is also considered as trustee of the cultural and educational heritage of the nation and is under obligation to transmit to learners such heritage. The teacher should therefore what? Take note ha. Teacher, trustee of cultural and educational heritage of the nation. So, unsa ko na yung buhatan nimo as a trustee? A. Use modern technology in teaching. Of course, when you use modern technology, this would do away. This would separate you or deviate you from being the trustee of cultural and educational heritage of the nation. Kaya nag-isip mo na siya about mga culture. Letter B, use advanced learning dynamics as the po, dili po. Letter C, continue higher educational pursuits like MA or PhD. Not so. The correct answer is letter D, conduct a lesson of the life of the Filipino heroes. 21. As a community leader, teachers should avoid. Naka-underline ng avoid diha. A. Make efforts to help alleviate the social condition of the community. B. Be aloof so that she can maintain objectivity. C. Help in finding potential sponsors. D. Be an active member of the community. So remember ha, community leader man. So asa may dapat nating iwasan or likayan? Of course, letter B, being aloof. Being aloof, meaning you refuse to connect with the people in the community, or you refuse to build relationship with your colleagues or with the people or with the stakeholders in the community. So letter B is the correct answer. You should avoid this one if you wanted to be part or if you wanted to become a community leader. Number 22. What should be your primary consideration as a school administrator if you want to help or you want to develop a quality program for your facility? So, kung school head ka, principal ka, kung sa imong angay buhaton para ma-maintain or ma-develop ang quality program sa imong eskwelahan. A. You will follow what is prescribed by experts. B. Availability of funding. C. Can be used by teachers to renew their license. Or letter D. Responsive to the identified teachers' needs. Of course, the correct answer is letter D. Responsive to identified teachers' needs. For example, kung mag-implement kag training program, of course, ang imong topics should really address the teacher's needs. Kung unsay kinahanglan sa imong mga teachers, mapatay imong gaman og training design. Example, during your assessment, you found out that your teachers lack with computer literacy skills. So, maganda kag training pohon, it should have something to do with computer literacy so that you will address the needs of your teachers. Okay, di man ta pwede magpataka og implement og policy or program or training if this training do not match or do not align with what the teachers need. Okay? Number 23. It refers to the science of developing a plan to attain goal and to guard against undesirable results. The correct answer is letter A, strategy of teaching. Science of developing a plan. So if you wanted to yield positive results in teaching, you must have to employ good and effective strategy of teaching. Letter D, teaching device, IMs na siya, visual aids, your instructional materials. Letter C, technique of teaching, personalized ni siya nimo nga strategy, personalized nimo nga technique in delivering a particular lesson. Kunya, og mayong tag science of developing a plan, ang gi-refer gid ana is the teaching strategy. Letter A. 24. Teachers should bring realia only when letter B, feasible. Walang repeated question is yan. 25. A kind of device which is a scaled replica of something. Scaled replica of something. So the correct answer is letter C, model. So scaled replica siya tungod kay smaller version siya sa original nga or sa realia. Sa bagay na kay kung mag-discut ka og Earth, imong gamitan kay globe. Globe is a scaled replica of the Earth. 26. This refers to the personalized style of carrying out the step of a given method. O take note, personalized style. Imong kagalingon nga style. The correct answer is letter B, technique of teaching. Bisan pag say mo og strategy of teaching, lalahi mo og pag-carry out, pag-execute sa strategy. And that personalized style is called teaching technique or technique of teaching. Okay? Pareha mo nagamit og cooperative learning strategy. Pero lalahi mo og pag-execute, pag-demonstrate. So, tawag na siya technique. Ang akong technique may or may not be similar with the technique of another teacher. Although we both use the same strategy. 27. These are methods that stood the test of time and are still being used at the present. So very easy. Stood the test of time, meaning it's time-tested method, letter E. 28. Teachers should allow his or her students to create the rules inside the classroom to develop sense of, letter D, ownership. So in creating classroom rules or mga do's and don'ts, a teacher should always allow the students or should always involve the students in creating such classroom rules. Nga naman, when they are part of the creation of that particular rules, they would somehow develop that sense of ownership. Yeah. Kung na yung sense of ownership, they are less likely to violate the rules. Kay apil mas lang mismo sa nigama sa rules. Number 29. The main proponent of multiple intelligences theory is letter C, Howard Gardner. Ganina, gawas din siya sa naguna nga mga questions. 30. A kind of intelligence that is characterized by a strong inclination towards dance and sports. The correct answer is letter A, kinesthetic. Kinesthetic talks about movements, mga bodily movements. So dance and sports require you to, to execute actions. So therefore, this belongs to kinesthetic intelligence. Musical talks about music, mga notes. Spatial, this talks about mga, let's say, reading maps, locating directions, mga spatial intelligence. Kanang mga tao nga makaanhan ng lugar ka usa ra pero nagbalit nila nas masaag, mga spatial intelligent na nga mga tao. Letter D, intrapersonal. For the word intra means self. Intrapersonal intelligence refers to intelligence or self-smart, meaning you know yourself better. You know your strength, you know your weaknesses, so therefore you are intrapersonally intelligent. 31. Maria scores high in tests that measures abstract ability. She is therefore possibly a child with astute skill in, take note, abstract, that's logical. Letter C, mathematical, logical. Okay? Kanyang letter B, interpersonal, opposite niya siya sa number 30 nga letter D. When you say interpersonal intelligence, people smart, meaning you are interpersonally intelligent if you easily, if you can get along easily with other people. Dahil ka makasabay sa uban. Ano siya, interpersonal intelligence. 32. Teacher Fatima requires a fixed reference material to be used in class, and this book becomes the sole source of information. Take note of sole source of information. Teacher Fatima is a traditional teacher using a technique called, of course, the answer is textbook technique. When you say rote learning technique, in letter A, it's more on memorization, meaning the teacher always lets her students memorize something. Ano siya, rote learning technique. Okay, number 33. The teacher started his lesson about mammals by giving a general characteristic of mammals, then eventually gives examples. His teaching method is known as, nasugod sa general, padung sa specific, that is deductive method. Binalian na magunang example before ang general characteristic or specific to general, that is inductive. So in this manner, naguna siya og define, naguna siya describe what mammals are. Nya after ana nakatag siya mga examples, that is deductive. Number 34. There are several techniques of lecturing, and one of these is delivering the lecture in a multidisciplinary way. This technique is called letter C, transitional is the correct answer. Meaning, you transition from one topic to another. Okay, number 35. To divide the class into smaller groups, the teacher wrote names of animals in small pieces of paper and let the students pick one from the container containing these small pieces of paper. This technique is called letter C, barnyard technique. Small group discussion, very easy. You will divide the students into small groups and then you will give them topics and then they will discuss among themselves regarding the topic. Then buzz session, magyapon ni siya, small group gyapon ni siya, but it's more on asking and answering questions. Letter D, charade, wala guessing game ni siya. 36. If the teacher would like to compare and contrast, the best graphic organizer to use is letter A, Venn diagram. The correct answer is Venn diagram. Kasi forma sa Venn diagram, sir, two overlapping circles. Duha ka circle nga nag-abot. Mana siya Venn diagram to be used in comparing and contrasting two concepts. Kining fishbone diagram, this is used for ano siya, cause and effect relationship. Okay? Then tree diagram, kuan gyapon ni siya, pwede siya cause and effect gihapon. Mag-start ka sa roots, then padung sa fruits. Then KWL chart, this is used during review. Number 37. Which statement is not true about recitation? Asa ani? Letter A, it is announced. Of course, true ni siya. Recitation should always be announced. Meaning, prior to recitation, dapat a day before, si teacher nagpahibaw na nga, tomorrow we will have our recitation so that the students will be guided. Letter B, possible questions are given. Yes, teachers are encouraged to give pointers. Pointers that point. Dito joke. Letter C, call a student before giving question. Imong tawagon daan si Pedro before ka mo ask a question. That is wrong. Diba? You pose first the question, then call the name or call a student. Ano naman para maka-ready ang bata. Ihatadan ng questions, niya taud-taoran, aya pa ka mo tawag og bata nga mo answer. Okay? Number 38. 38. When teachers feel that they are the best source of information, the best method to consider is, if you feel like you are the monopoly of learning regarding that particular topic, so the best method that you will use is lecture method. Na naman, wala pa may idea imong mga audience, wala pa may idea imong mga bata. Okay? You cannot have the reporting. Why? Because your students in the first place have no prior knowledge regarding the topic. Discussion also is not effective if the students have no stored knowledge about a particular topic. So lecture din siya ang best method. 39. The teacher will employ Oxford, Oregon whenever there will be, the correct answer is debate. So Oxford, Oregon, format ni siya nga gamiton during debate. Okay? 40. Teacher Edna would like to use reporting method in her elementary pupils. Take note, elementary ha. Which technique is most appropriate? The correct answer is letter A, reading or storytelling. You cannot apply letter B up to letter D for elementary pupils. Siguro sa grade 6, pwede na ning group reporting. But I don't know sa ubang grado. 41. Students were assigned to live with the community they are studying on. This technique, which is appropriate for mostly mature ones, is known as letter B, field study. So field study meaning you are required to go to the to the community or to the real world in order for you to experience or observe how a particular task is being done. So kung teacher mo, before mo maka-student teaching, mo undergo with mo og field study, mo observe mo adto sa mga eskwelahan how the teacher carries out the task assigned to them. Number 42. Teacher Andrew invited three experts to talk about a single topic. Take it as single topic. This technique is known as letter B, panel discussion. 43. A student knows that the examination week is approaching, but instead of studying, it chose to spend his time playing computers. On the examination day itself, he opted to pray for miracle rather than studying. Which attitude towards religion is displayed? Religion as magic. Letter B. That's very, very easy to answer. 44. Teacher Matilda wants to show the cause and effect of global warming to her students. Which graphic organizer is best suited? Cause and effect. Letter B, fishbone diagram. Okay? Kining Venn diagram, katong compare and contrast, flow chart is a flow, a particular process. What's the first step, second step, and the last step? That's flow chart. Cycle map, cycle, example, water cycle. 45. Blank supports equitable access, but on the other hand, quality might be compromised. The correct answer is letter A, open admission. Ang open admission meaning tanan pwede mo enroll. Example, anang college, wa na yung mga entrance exam, that's open admission. So that supports equitable access. Why? Because students are given the freedom to enroll. Pero quality might be compromised. Na naman, bisig dili siya deserving ana nga kurso, nakasud gihapon siya. Okay? 46, the last di siya last question. Educational institutions' efforts of developing work skills inside the school are aimed at, take note, developing work skills. The correct answer is letter D, developing vocational efficiency. Murag pang test dan siya. 47. The student's choice of seat in the first day of school would influence the teacher's impression on how responsive the child is. This example will be under what category of nonverbal communication? Di ba? Og teacher ka sa first day, makaingon ka kining bata nagpaon na meaning kamao gini siya, di ba? Unsa man na siya nga category that belongs to location in proximity. Okay? 48. The environment is greatly abused, which is why schools are teaching sustainable development. Which is best practice among the following? So, repeated question, the correct answer is letter B, integrate sustainable development of the curriculum. So that ends our review for today. If you have some questions or doubts or suggestions, do not hesitate to post it in our group chat or to private message me. That's all. Thank you and God bless everyone.